Does anyone else remember back in 2021 when LEGO released a highly coveted UCS LEGO Star Wars set with a lot of hype surrounding the minifigs, only to release disappointing and cheap minifigs? And then when it asked why the minifigs were so disappointing in interviews, we got some of the worst PR disasters in LEGO history.
The Republic gunship is a set from the original trilogy.
Well, it feels like deja vu because here we are. Almost the exact same thing, but at a worse scale, in my opinion, has happened recently. But before we get into this, I just want to preface by saying this video is not meant to attack any LEGO designer. Even though I use the LEGO Star Wars minifig designer's face on the thumbnail, don't go attacking him, don't go attacking any other sole designer. They are not 100% at fault for any of the things I mentioned in today's video. They have higher ups, they have Lucasfilm, they have people on their budgeting team. LEGO is obviously a huge billion-dollar corporation, and they don't make all the decisions for LEGO. So it's not their fault, don't go attacking anyone. That's not the purpose of this video. The point of this video is to point out some crazy LEGO designer interview quotes that we have today and kind of debunk them, because I really don't want anyone out there to actually be tricked by them, which I don't know if that's possible because the excuses that the LEGO designers give in these interviews are kind of dumb, to be honest. But without further ado, let's get right into this. So in two separate LEGO Star Wars designer interviews, when asked basically in two separate interviews, why in a $1,000 set are there no dual molded legs for a lot of these Imperial officers, and specifically C-3PO, because we've seen obviously previous iterations of the minifig with dual molded legs. So obviously fans like myself are upset and asking what the heck is going on here, and pretty much we're just flat out confused why in a $1,000 set there's no dual molded legs with the minifig. And basically, if you chop down the excuse, if you simplify a little bit the explanation that both of these LEGO designers gave in these two separate interviews, it's that they didn't have the budget for it. In a $1,000 LEGO Star Wars set, the budget for dual molded legs simply wasn't there. There wasn't enough money to go around. All these other minifigs were clearly top of the line, so we had to skimp out on C-3PO. Sorry. No, that's okay. Well, that's just honestly crazy. And in the case of C-3PO, not dual molded legs as a whole, but for C-3PO especially, because obviously we know that he's gotten previous versions with dual molded legs in cheaper sets. And the reasoning the designers gave, or at least one of the designers gave, for C-3PO not having dual molded legs specifically when we've seen previous versions with dual molded legs, is that it's not the standard for that minifig. Basically, LEGO didn't make an upgrade to the minifig that was permanent, like they did with Darth Vader with arm printing a few years back, like they did with arm printing for C-3PO and back printing for R2-D2. But the dual molded legs isn't a standard upgrade to the C-3PO minifig. Not every C-3PO minifig nowadays has that dual molded leg. But the question is, why? Why is that not the standard? And it doesn't even have to be the standard, but it should be the standard in a $1,000 LEGO Star Wars set. At least in every UCS set, C-3PO should get dual molded legs, okay? That should be the standard, because UCS sets are much more expensive than all these play sets. All these play sets doesn't matter, right? You don't need the dual molded leg in every single play set. But in UCS sets, when you're paying top dollar, especially $1,000, you should be getting the standard. And the fact that the designer basically said it's not the standard for C-3PO to have dual molded legs, so that means it's more expensive. Dual molded legs are a little different than printed arms and things like that, so it's more expensive to produce the dual molded legs. Basically saying they're not in mass production like, for example, all these standard upgrades are, like the arm printing for C-3PO, back printing for R2-D2, etc., etc. But that's not true, because there is a $6 C-3PO keychain with the dual molded legs currently available on LEGO.com. So what are you talking about, dude? It's obviously in mass production. The leg piece on that keychain is the exact same one that goes on minifigs. The legs on keychains, you can take them off and put them on regular figs. They're the same on regular minifigs as on keychains. What is going on? You can sell the dual molded legs for $6, but not for $1,000. You can't include them in a $1,000 set. They're clearly being mass produced. They're clearly not that expensive if you can sell it in a $6 keychain. So what's going on here? This is just honestly baffling. And then as far as the Imperial officers go, this is where it gets maybe even more insane, in my opinion. There are around six or seven Imperial officers in the set that could have used dual molded legs, and I think 3 or 4 that could have, no, is it 2 or 3? I think it's 2 or 3 that could have used the dark bluish gray dual molded legs. So those are the ones I'm going to focus on for now. The dark bluish gray dual molded legs with the black boots pattern were available on Pick-a-Brick for the longest time, for like 50 cents if I remember right, or even a little bit cheaper than that. They were recently removed, I think, due to tariffs and whatever's going on in the US, so Pick-a-Brick is, kind of getting nerfed with all the tariffs, but for the longest time, LEGO could afford to sell them for 50 cents or even less. So we know that they were in production and they're not that expensive for LEGO to make. And if you look at the pricing of ABS plastic, like what the actual material costs and all of that, we can kind of estimate what it costs LEGO on this grand production scale to create these dual molded legs and everything. So for the standard dark bluish gray dual molded legs, it probably costs LEGO 1 to 3 pennies, something like that, you know, 1 to 3 cents for a pair of regular dark bluish gray legs. But for dual molded legs, it costs possibly double or triple that, but still under 10 cents. So that means to give every minifig in this set dual molded legs that doesn't already have it, which is about 6 or 7 of them, it would cost LEGO around 50 cents to $1.50 at most to give all the minifigs that needed it dual molded legs in this set. So why on earth is a freaking dollar being cried over with the budget? What is going on there? You can't take an extra dollar with your record profit margins making billions a year, LEGO. Like, seriously? It's not like the value is insane in this set either. Like, if we were getting really good value, if the set was like $500, I don't know if I'd be really complaining about this as much. But $1,000 and you can't, you know, add an extra dollar cost. Oh, and something I just want to mention because it's just crazy. It doesn't have to do with this designer interview and everything, but there's going to be a UCS Death Star poster available for VIP members to buy with VIP points, and it costs you almost $40 in VIP points to purchase this Death Star poster, which $40 for a LEGO poster, especially for VIP members who LEGO should probably be giving better deals because they're the most, you know, loyal customers, $40 is insane. And, you know, I don't really care about this too much. I just want to point it out because it's crazy. But yeah, what do you all think of the designer interviews that we got? Again, don't attack any, like, sole designers. Like, it's not their fault that the budgeting is messed up and the higher-ups and LEGO said, you know, rejected things and Lucasfilm is up there. Like, there's a lot of factors in play, so don't go attacking any one designer. It's not their fault. But what do you all think of these designer interviews? Do you think LEGO made, yet again, another PR disaster with these interviews? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like on today's video if you all did enjoy. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Have an amazing day. Peace out.